Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you're anything like me, you probably have a special place in your heart for a good spooky story, especially when it's one that hits close to home. And what could be closer to home than the very halls where we spent our formative years? That's right, today we're diving deep into the chilling world of school horror stories. Stories so unsettling, so bizarre, they make you question everything you thought you knew about those seemingly innocent classrooms and empty corridors. Forget jump scares and elaborate monsters for a moment. What we're talking about today are those creeping psychological terrors, the kind that linger long after the lights are out. These aren't just urban legends. These are tales based on real experiences, shared by people who swear they lived through them. So, dim the lights, maybe grab a comfort blanket, because we're about to explore 3 truly disturbing stories from schools that will definitely make you think twice about staying late after class. You might even find yourself looking over your shoulder next time you walk past an old school building. Let's get into it. Our first story takes us to a quiet, seemingly ordinary high school in a small town. Let's call it Northwood High. Sarah, a dedicated student, was often the last one to leave the library, immersed in her studies. One evening, as dusk settled, she was packing up her books. The librarian had already gone home, leaving Sarah with the comforting hum of the fluorescent lights and the quiet rustle of pages. Suddenly, she heard a faint, almost childlike whisper coming from the history section. It sounded like someone calling her name, but softer, like a breath. She dismissed it at first, thinking it was just the building settling, or maybe her imagination playing tricks. But then it came again, clearer this time. "Sarah, help me." Her heart began to pound. No one else was supposed to be there. She cautiously walked towards the history section, her eyes scanning the towering shelves. The whisper seemed to move, flitting between the aisles. She called out, "Hello, is anyone there?" Silence. A heavy, suffocating silence. As she turned to leave, a book from the top shelf of a seemingly untouched section slid out and landed with a soft thud at her feet. It was an old yearbook, open to a page featuring a class photo from the 1950s. Her eyes were drawn to a girl in the back row, her smile eerily wide, her eyes seeming to stare directly at Sarah. Just as Sarah registered the unsettling image, a cold gust of wind swept through the otherwise still library, extinguishing the lights with a soft pop. Plunged into darkness, a desperate, childlike giggle echoed through the vast space. Sarah didn't wait to see what would happen next. She scrambled out of the library, fumbling for her keys, and ran all the way home, never looking back. She never stayed late at the library again, always feeling those unseen eyes watching her. Now, for our second tale, we venture into an elementary school where playful, innocent art projects can take a truly sinister turn. Mark was a janitor at Maplewood Elementary, a friendly guy who had worked there for years. He knew every creak, every draft, every hidden corner of that school. One Tuesday evening, after everyone had left, he was doing his usual rounds, cleaning the art room. He noticed a drawing taped to one of the bulletin boards that he hadn't seen before. It was a crayon drawing by a young child, depicting the school playground. But something was off. In the corner of the drawing near the swings was a stick figure that was entirely black, with jagged red eyes. It was disproportionately large compared to the other stick figures, and seemed to be staring directly out of the paper. Mark found it a bit unsettling, but kids draw all sorts of things, right? He continued his cleaning. The next night, as he cleaned the same room, he saw the drawing again. But this time, the black stick figure was closer to the center of the playground, its red eyes seeming even more intense. He figured another teacher had moved it, or perhaps another drawing got put up. He gently took it down, intending to put it in the lost and found art pile. But then he noticed something even stranger. The black stick figure was now holding hands with another stick figure, one that had been alone on the swings in the original drawing. Over the next few nights, the drawing kept reappearing, sometimes on a different board, sometimes on a different wall, and each time, the black stick figure moved closer and closer to the school building itself, always accompanied by more and more of the other drawn children. Their happy faces slowly being replaced by blank stares. Mark started to feel a genuine sense of dread. He tried throwing the drawing away, shredding it even, but it would always reappear the next day, sometimes taped directly onto the janitor's cart. The final straw came when he found it taped to his own locker, the black stick figure now standing at the school's front door, its red eyes piercing through the paper, and underneath, written in shaky red crayon, "We're waiting." Mark resigned the next day. He never told anyone why, but the image of that evolving drawing still haunts his nightmares. Our final chilling account brings us to an old boarding school perched on a secluded hill, notorious for its strict discipline and even stricter silence rules. This story was told by a former student, David Nabid, who attended in the late 90s. The school had an antiquated bell system, a deep, resonating chime that signaled the start and end of classes. The bell tower was off limits to students, but its sound was an inescapable part of daily life. One night, during a particularly fierce thunderstorm, the power went out, plunging the entire school into darkness. David and his roommates huddled together, a little scared but mostly relieved that classes would likely be canceled the next day. But then, through the howling wind and crashing thunder, they heard it, the school bell. Not the usual crisp, decisive chime, but a slow, deliberate, almost mournful toll. Asterisk, dong, dong, dong. Asterisk. It was happening at irregular intervals, far too slow to be a class change. It was much deeper, more resonant than usual, as if the bell itself was crying out. The boys looked at each other, their faces pale in the flickering candlelight. Who would be ringing the bell in a power outage in the middle of a storm, and in such a haunting manner? A few minutes later, their dorm master, Mr. Harrison, came around with a flashlight, checking on everyone. He was visibly shaken, his face ashen. He barked at them. "Did you boys hear that bell?" They nodded silently. He then whispered, "Stay in your rooms. Don't open your doors for anything." Later that night, long after the storm had passed and the power was restored, David overheard Mr. Harrison talking to another teacher in hushed tones. "It's happened again," Mr. Harrison said. The bell rang, but the bell tower door was still locked from the outside. And the rope. The rope was swinging as if someone had just pulled it. David later learned that decades ago, a student had tragically died in the bell tower, a secret that the school tried desperately to keep buried. From that night on, whenever there was a power outage during a storm, the phantom bell would toll, a chilling reminder of a past that refused to stay silent. The school closed a few years after David graduated, a decision many believe was influenced by the lingering, unsettling energy that permeated its ancient walls. And there you have it. 3 truly disturbing school horror stories that blur the lines between reality and nightmare. These tales remind us that sometimes the most mundane places can harbor the most unsettling secrets. It's enough to make you think twice about those late-night study sessions or solitary walks through empty school hallways, isn't it? Which story sent the biggest shiver down your spine? Do you have any strange or unsettling experiences from your own school days? I'd love to hear them in the comments below. Just try to keep it PG-13, folks. If you enjoyed these tales and want to hear more unsettling true stories, please give this video a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next dive into the unknown. Thanks for watching, and remember, you're never truly alone, especially in an old school building. Sleep tight.